परमादर आयुक्तामयमानेन धर्मार्थसुखसाधनम् आयुर्वेदोपदेशेषु विधेः परमादर आयुक्तामयमानेन धर्मार्थसुखसाधनम् आयुर्वेदोपदेशेषु विधेः परमादर आयुक्तामयमानेन धर्मार्थसुखसाधनम् आयुर्वेदोपदेशेषु विधेः परमादर
Ayurveda is a part of our great Vedic heritage, and it's one of the most ancient sciences of health and healing. Through this serial, it's our humble effort to carry the message of Ayurveda to your homes and hearts. I hope and pray that we will have your blessings for this great venture.
शाश्वतो निर्दिश्यते अनादित्वात् स्वभावसंसिद्धलक्षणत्वात् भावस्वभावनित्यत्वात् न ह्यायुर्वेदस्य भूतोत्पत्तिरुपलभ्यते अन्यत्रावबोधोपदेशाभ्याम् सोऽयं आयुर्वेदः शाश्वतो निर्दिश्यते अनादित्वात् स्वभावसंसिद्धलक्षणत्वात् भावस्वभावनित्यत्वात् न ह्यायुर्वेदस्य भूतोत्पत्तिरुपलभ्यते अन्यत्रावबोधोपदेशाभ्याम्।
चरक संहिता का वचन है कि आयुर्वेद शाश्वत है। शाश्वत है, जिंदा रहेगा, मरेगा नहीं। उपयुक्त होना न होना ये शास्त्र या किताब की बात नहीं है, वो उसके वापरने वाले बुद्धि का कार्य है।
Ayurveda is, of course, one of the great experimental heritages of our entire civilization.
Ayurveda as a health tradition should be valued, should be nurtured on its own strength.
It has been perfected over millennia, and therefore it's a very precious part of our heritage. It's suited to our genetic makeup, it's suited to our climate, to our earth.
Consumer surveys are showing that almost 40 to 50% of local population are paying from their own pockets for some alternative system of medicine because they are not fully satisfied with what the mainstream Western medicine has to offer. And although insurance companies don't pay today for alternative medicine, the citizens then pay from their own pockets. This is the trend.
Ayurveda is not like modern medicine, a medicine nahi. It is a science of life. Our most important specialization which we lost is how to maintain good health, the way of life. Preventive and promotive aspect of Ayurveda is most vital. Unfortunately, we are not following.
For the last 40, 50 years, all emphasis in all programs, governmental and other programs, all attention of the society has been towards whatever came from the West. And in a sense, because pills are easier to swallow than a 28-day course.
What's happening as a global phenomenon, particularly strongly in Europe and the United States, that there is a strong emerging critique of modern medicine.
The West itself is turning away from chemical drugs, chemistry-based drugs.
There is a resurgence of interest world over in alternative systems of medicine, and the most important aspect of the so-called alternative systems of medicine are the time-tested traditional systems of medicine. And amongst those, the strongest in the world are probably Ayurveda and systems like the Chinese systems of medicine.
Immediately after independence, in a conversation, Mahatma Gandhi once remarked that the damage that's done by 150 years of colonialism will take at least half as many years to undo, something like. He was talking about 75 years after independence for us to come into our own kind of thing, to put it in his words. So I think that from an era where we were very defensive about our traditions, about our knowledge systems, where we felt that they were not even valid enough to be called as knowledge unless there's the stamp or chapa from the West saying that this is scientific.
Why are we trying to make ourselves compatible to them? Why are we trying to put ourselves in such a way they can understand? Or to put it more strongly, why are we trying to ape them and make them say that, finally say, you are good? Why are we wanting to get a stamp from them?
We have always looked to the West for confirmation in everything we do, whether it's the food we eat, or the clothes we wear, or the relationships we build, or even the spiritual practices we follow. When the West took to yoga and meditation in the 60s, we promptly followed suit. When the West realized that their system of medicine was lacking in something, they looked for a traditional alternative, and Ayurveda was one of them. We in India accepted Ayurveda as an alternative system, never realizing that it was always ours, a truly original system. And it was the Western system that was an alternative system for us.
People in the West are talking about mind-body medicine. From where this mind came suddenly? And even today, 2/3 of the prescription of US is towards herbal, towards Ayurveda, towards Chinese kind of thing. So there is a drastic change taking place in the medical community as well as in the public.
You will be surprised, there is a European Ayurvedic Society, and the Professor Muhlenberg, who is a Dutchman, who is the president, he has translated Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita and Ashtanga Sangraha all into German. So there are very great scholars in the West, and the interest in trying to understand the Ayurvedic approach to life, to medicine, that is more serious in Western countries, particularly Europe, than in India, in my view.
They are doing wonderful work. I think not compared to India, I see nobody is working.
In the last 30, 40 years, there has been a marked interest of growth in yoga in India. It's much more publicly visible today than it was in 1960 or 1970. Perhaps one of the reasons for this, not just the only reason, was the fact that it has attracted a lot of attention in the West. Certainly I know that it meant a lot to a lot of people that a famous Indian yogi had the Beatles as his students. I know there's an entire generation of people who got interested in it in India and in the West because of that.
There is revival of interest in traditional knowledge and traditional wisdom, whether it is in terms of conservation of water, everybody now talks about old systems of conservation of water, or in terms of medicine, health, human health of various kinds.
There are people who are taking a very highly confident, conscious generation who's taking to Ayurveda, not because that's what they always done or there's no other go, because they feel that's absolutely the best thing to do. Though that resurgence is somewhat slow, I do think it's definitely happening.
In spite of our freedom for the last 50 years, we are much behind in the health sector. You see the reports of the WHO. Sometimes you see the report, just we feel ashamed. In the maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate, we are in the world, we are just above what? Bangladesh, Nepal, we are much behind Sri Lanka, which is such a small country. Why? We have better resources, we have better intelligentsia, then why?
Dependent nature of the Indian intellectual class and therefore of the governmental class. If you see our history books, some chap has written a history, something written in Europe, and we just apply the same method and technique to something Indian, and that's called very original research. It's derivative research. And governmental programs are also derivative in that sense. And sometimes we have to wait for the Vivekananda effect. Swamiji is not listened to in India, but when he makes a mark in the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago, then he is honored a great deal in India. So because the West is turning to Ayurveda and to yoga and to meditation, maybe Indians will also turn to it, or the Western educated Indians will also turn to it.
Under 10 years, the scenario will be like this. The rich and affluent and educated, well-informed people will be using sophisticated medicines of herbal origin, and poor in the developing world and the less informed people will be using the cheap chemical medicine. Because this herbal medicine is going to be expensive.
Biotechnology and herbal products and bioinformatics. These three things are going to be the predominant, in the industry or in healthcare system. See, the holistic concept of Ayurveda, where it takes into consideration physical, mental, emotional and spiritual well-being. Not only that one, they also take into consideration that man is a part of nature. You have to constantly adjust and adapt with the changing environment. And the environment is predominant. Now everybody is speaking of the balance of environment. And it was seen, you see, the ancient sages, by their intuitive hypothesis or their experience, their observation, they developed certain, conceptual foundation of Ayurveda, which is seemed to be eternal. I am trained as a modern scientist. But the more and more I started learning Ayurveda, I find we have reached only the fringes of Ayurveda. So it's immense scope in the next century, provided you have to do a lot of homework.
So there's a whole need for mindset. And unfortunately, this mindset change is taking place in the industrialized countries. And we, the holders and the inheritors of the great tradition, we will have to wait until they change their mindset, and then we also follow the imitative methodology, because they now feel this is the way to go. Natural health, natural medicine, ecological ways of living in nature. Of course, Ayurveda is not just treatment alone. It's a way of life. It's a tradition. It's a way of life. It is self-discipline. And those, I think, are coming in a fast way in the industrialized world. And it's unfortunate. Even today when I hear anybody discuss Ayurveda, yes, there is a lot of money in it. You see, that is not, money will come, but that should not be the main motivation.
You look at the last year's statistics of the herbal products in the world. 1999, the global market for herbal products, herbal drugs was 52,000 crores of dollars. And India's share was only 5%. 60% was China, 20% Japan, and about 16% Russia. And we were nowhere. Whereas some 10 years back, wherever people speak of herbal drugs or traditional medicine, it was Ayurveda. Chinese in the ancient time came to India to learn Ayurveda, but they did lot of homework. You see, 1974, after the visit of Nixon to China, then immediately Chinese recognized the potential market in the West. So what they did, they developed their system, Chinese system, to a level of understanding the contemporary science. So no science can remain static.
Our R&D systems are quite weak, so to say. And if you ask some major research labs, how many products have you developed in the last 50 years? they'll say maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, you know. How many technology they have transferred to the private sector? Hardly any.
Ayurvedic people should come out of their orthodoxy. They should think science. Ancient time they were more of open. They were telling take science from everywhere. But that kind of, that openness is no more with them. This is due to various historical reasons. So other thing, they are not properly educated in Ayurveda itself. I don't think a well-educated, knowledgeable Ayurvedic physician will never say that we should not touch any other things other than which is mentioned in the text. See, for example, Charaka Samhita. It is a first ever medical symposium held in this country about 2000 BC. At that time, they did not give all the knowledge. They gave the concept, then some examples. He did not cover all the formularies of contemporary period.
तेषामव्यक्तिरभिप्रतिष्ठा शालक्यतन्त्रेषु चिकित्सितं च पराधिकारे तु न विस्तरोक्ति शस्तेति तेनात्र ननः प्रयासः.
So far as the Char Sutra is concerned, it is a medicated thread. And this medicated thread, it has specially been mentioned by Sushruta, the pioneer, so far as the surgery in the ancient era is concerned. It is a painless, it is bloodless. Over and above, it is an ambulatory type of treatment. This thread, it is a medicated thread which has got the coatings of Euphorbia nerifolia latex, this Acheranthus aspera powder, and Curcuma longa powder. This thread has got the capacity to cut the fibrous tissue which is lining the fibrous this fistulous tract. Patient is supposed to be on bed for a few hours. After 4 to 5 hours, we have to ask the patient to move about, because so long as the movement is concerned, it is the movement which is helping the effect of the thread. The patient is fit after 2 to 3 hours, and patient will be just given after 2 to 3 hours the liquids, etc. And by evening he will be just allowed to move home.
Tatra dhanvandariyanam adhikarah kriyavidhau vaidyanam kritayogyanam vyadhashodhana rupane.
Is it not surprising that on the one hand we say Ayurveda is eternal, that it has no beginning and no end, that it has survived the test of time, and yet on the other hand we are talking about a great revival? Where is the need to revive a system that is eternal?
Thanks to World Health Organization and Indian Council of Medical Research for all the awareness they created all over the world, and there's an unprecedented surge in the masses to know more about what is this great science, though it's been in existence for more than 5,000 years. There's never been so much of demand for the system, not only for the product, but for thirst for the knowledge of the science is also coming up. And that's one of the reasons why we thought we should bring out a serial like this, through which we could educate the masses that Ayurveda is just not oil massage or just not so-called Panchakarma or Kaya Chikitsa. There's a lot of misconception about the whole system called Ayurveda. It's got much greater scientific values, a deeper philosophy, and unless and until that is known to the world, there's going to be a wrong impression going to be created that purely applying oil massage or massage centers, as you could see in all the large cities, just applying oil and giving a rub on the patient is Ayurveda. It's not so. It's just one small element of the entire world of Ayurvedic science.
We now know about the great revival taking place all over the world in the field of Ayurveda and the speed with which this ancient knowledge of our Bharat is spreading far and wide. You look around anywhere, even in India, there are Panchakarma centers here, there and everywhere. Amid such mushrooming of Ayurvedic clinics all around, is the quality of genuine Ayurvedic treatment taking a downturn with modernization trends having taken over? Has Shuddha Ayurveda become a thing of the past? We examine these issues in our next episode titled Alarm Bells. Please revert to us with your valuable comments about our serial. Write to us at Ayurveda, PB number 7102, Trichy Road, Coimbatore 641045, or email us at ayurveda@vsnl.com.
Brahma Prithvayusho Vedam Prajapatimajigrahat Brahma Prithvayusho Vedam Prajapatimajigrahat So Ashvino Tau Sahasraksham So Atriputradikan Muni Teyaknivesadikam Stedu Pridhatandrani te nire Teyaknivesadikam Stedu Pridhatandrani te nire. Brahma Prithvayusho Vedam Prajapatimajigrahat Brahma Prithvayusho Vedam Prajapatimajigrahat